Leicester City lose to QPR at home yet again, another home loss, and this time the fans are blaming Squally, the manager. Picking AU, fans are saying you've got to stop doing that. Substitutions too late. Where do you stand on all of it? Why are we losing at home again and again and again? Are the fans and the atmosphere around the stadium helping or hindering this team? When we've got Paul and Jim fresh back from watching that game to give their view on it all, and fans on social media have also had their say as well, which we're going to get into. Thank you for watching. This is 20 minutes of Leicester City chat. I'm Mark, I'm a neutral. We host all of these for each of the 24 championship clubs, and here is our Leicester effort, which is where foxes walk. We look at good, bad, and indifferent social media takes from the Leicester community and get Paul and Jim to give their views on it. If you haven't yet subbed to the channel, we'd really love to get to 100 subscribers by the end of the season. We've been going a couple of months now. Help us out to getting there. Paul, well, I shouldn't laugh because, it isn't a laughing matter, but when you went 1-0 up, you must have thought, here we are, right? QPR have been awful. All you got to do is score a second goal. And it'd be turned out like the Bristol City game. What happened?
Well, I don't know if we did, because we went there was nothing happening until we went 1-0 up. Nothing was happening. It was just a pretty dull game. And then obviously that goal was out of nowhere, wasn't it? And that's probably the furthest we got up the pitch in the whole first half, I think, when he shot that goal in. And from then onwards, really, it was inevitable. It was because QPR had more of the ball. They wanted it more. Our tactics were atrocious in the first half. They had men marking Fatawu, so everything was going down through Mavididi. And he did okay, but the Fatawu was nothing in the first half. And for some reason, we seemed to play Luke Thomas and Hamza Chowdhury almost as in part of the centre halves. There was like 4 centre halves. So the QPR wingers were having a field day. It was absolute madness. We just gave it to them.
Cheers for that, Paul. Jim, your take on it all?
I'm mentally tired now from watching this team. It's like you have a great game, nearly 90-minute performance against Bristol City, and it was really good defensive wise. Jacob saving the penalty was great, and then like you say, we go 1-0 up. You think, have we turned the corner? And then within 20 minutes, it's gone down the pan, like every single game this season, and I don't know who to blame anymore. I mean, Rowett said that he was going to, half time, he was going to make subs, but he thought to give him a little bit longer. Obviously, you've got Ayew and Daka, so you can't play Daka every single game. You can't play him non-stop every single game because then they'll so you have to swap it around. Now, I know Ayew's dogs, like he is dog, I can't say the word, obviously, but you can't just play Daka non-stop. So you either put Richards up front or you have to put up with that thing up front. And either way, it's just not working. And I've been saying it for months, and people have been calling me a moaner. They've saying I've given up already. But I honestly feel that was the final nail in the relegation coffin, QPR. We need to win 5 out of 8 games coming up. Preston, Sheffield Wednesday, Blackburn, Watford, Hull, Millwall. I can't see 5 wins coming from that. And I honestly think that result was us relegated now, and it's going to be a disaster of the remaining 8 games.
Well, it's definitely 2 from 5 now, isn't it? We're against a West Brom team that's started to sort themselves out, Oxford side started to sort themselves out, against a Pompey side which aren't that bad, and of course against a Blackburn side which, well, you play them on the last day of the season. I think it's looking like it is going to be winner stays up, isn't it? I think on that one. Let's look at social media takes then. Mark says, to your point actually, Jim, but you waited too long, in reference to the manager. Stop picking 4 out of the 5 of these players who let the last 3 managers down. They're going to shaft you as well, Gary. The Atmosphere's Electric podcast says, please stop picking Ayew. He's useless and just there to pick up wages. Daka at least cares. Pick Daka every single week now. Paul, where do you stand on that last discussion there?
Well, they're both useless, but I mean, the problem with for either of them is we don't really create any chances. Ayew actually, he didn't get a single chance come his way, nothing. Daka creates more through his running, but they're both useless, and we knew that in January. And we got all these January signings, and we just keep them on the bench. What was the point of bringing them in? Ben Nelson had an absolute nightmare and should have been hooked in that game. He had a yellow card, which was ridiculous, and it seemed to rock him. Then he scored the own goal, which definitely took his confidence, and he gave him an assist as well with the first goal. And we kept him on the pitch, and we've got Lascelles, who was like Newcastle's club captain. All their fans said, this guy's fantastic. He'll be great if he stays fit. And we just put him on the bench. And what we do is we just because we kept one clean sheet, we keep these two guys. What about all the others we didn't keep? And a Coley, that guy is just useless. So we've got big problems.
A few more. Cheers, Paul, for that one. Playing AU and Hamza and wondering why teams are beating Leicester is the funniest thing about it. It was funny how when AU came off the pitch, we pretty much controlled the game. Well, we are down now. I don't know how much you agree with that point there, Jim.
Yeah, I mean, if we're playing one game a week, play Daka every game. Obviously, when you're playing Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, you can get a bit much for some players. But yeah, I just can't see a reality in where we're getting to 53 points to stay up now. I've accepted relegation. It's hot, as daft as that sound, with 8 games to go. There's no fight. There's no urgency. There's no grit. There's just nothing in this team that says to me that they're willing to put everything on the line to stay up. Because like I said before, a couple of weeks ago, to them it's just a payday. They'll just jump ship to another club when we go down. They don't care. It's us fans that have to deal with it. So that, for me, I don't see how we stay afloat. I really don't. The other team, like I say, the 6 teams that are in the bottom now, we're the worst one in the last 6 games. We've picked up 6 points. Oxford 11, Blackburn 7, West Brom 6, I believe, as well. Portsmouth 7, and another team is I think it's picked up 9. So Charlton, that was it. So we're the worst one of them all, and that just shows you what so-called fight this team has got. When we can't even beat a team like QPR, who are basically on the beach now because they've got no to play for, and yet they played us off the park. So that just says everything that needs to be said.
And yet, Paul, Tuesday night against Bristol City was all the opposite of that, wasn't it? It was quite impressive.
Well, it was. It's crazy, isn't it? Because we thought we had turned the corner. I think what Jim said, the worst thing there is that QPR wanted it more, and they clearly did. They were running more for the ball, especially when they were 2-1 up. They just smelt blood then, and our team was scared. They wanted it, and whoever tweeted that we controlled the game, we didn't. We controlled it through, a Coley and Nelson passing to each other. That, if that's control, great. But we didn't get anywhere near their goal. I think we had our first corner in this sort of 80-something minute, and to give you an idea, I think we had 1 offside in the whole game, and that was in the last 10 minutes as well, because we didn't get in their half. we got the ball to Fatawu, who tried something tricky and fell over it, and that's as good as we got. We literally were that bad. It was horrendous.
You're actually better away from home, aren't you, Paul? To be fair, how much is the King Power Stadium affecting the players or not?
Well, I think it did, but the thing is, I was there on Saturday, and it was a good attendance for once. I think, they said there was 27,000 there, and it actually felt like there was, because there was not that many seats empty, and the fans were behind them. They're 1-0 up, they were behind them, and so I don't think you can blame the fans this time. I blame the fans myself a lot, because I think they have been unfair, and I do think that when the team's read out and they boo IU, I don't agree with that. Whether you like that guy or not, he's playing for Leicester City, and we're in a right mess, and we need to be behind the team, and it's not good for him or the team here in that. But I thought the fans got behind him. But at the end of the game, usually you leave 10 minutes early to get out early, but actually you were better off staying in your seat to get out easily, because there must have been 2,000 fans left in there. I stayed right till the end because my daughter made me, because she made me feel guilty and said only a true fan will stay. So I had to, but literally there must have been 2,000 fans, apart from the 2,000 QPR fans who were having the best day of their lives.
Yeah. Watford then away next. They've got nothing to play for now. I mean, they've got a slim chance of playoffs, but they haven't really done much since the new manager came in. And then I tell you what, after the international break, Preston at home, wow, they are in a worse form than you at the moment. They are sinking like a stone, Jim. So I know I said this last week, but there are 2 winnable games here on paper. That's
the thing, on paper. There's no winnable games. I mean, I tell you what annoys me the most about the QPR game. I know we're going back to that again, but QPR will wait to Birmingham on the Wednesday, then they have to travel back to London and then back to Leicester on the Saturday to play us. We had 2 home games, and yet they had to do all that travelling, and yet they still showed up more than what we did, and we were at home both games. So I don't think that even Preston, that are in atrocious form, they'll still play us off the park because they want it more. You know, Watford, I don't know what their form's like at the minute, but Watford always been an iffy team with us, you know, with the playoffs heartbreak that's happened in the past and whatnot. They're a team that can spring anything out of nowhere. So I'd love to be able to say, if I had to pick one, I'd say Preston. Hopefully we'll beat Preston. But I wouldn't even fancy us against Sheffield Wednesday a minute. I mean, and they can't buy wins from anywhere, and I guarantee you now they'll probably beat us. And that's what my mental state is at the minute, supporting this team, that I can't even think of beating a team that's on -7 points.
Okay. Any players did stand out for you? I mean, we've got to mention Jordan again, Paul. Great goal.
Yeah, it's a good goal, but he was missing for 60 minutes of the game still. I think the only player that really stood out to me, and it's rare to be fair, because I don't think he works very hard, was Mavididi. I think he was running, he was doing his best, and he had a good second half. But other than that, there wasn't one other player, including Jordan James, that stood out. So no, apart from they stood out from being absolutely atrocious. I think, Fatawu, we talked about him a couple of weeks ago about whether fans were getting annoyed with him, and I was annoyed with him. He was always trying the trick, and the QPR fullback just had the measure of him almost every single time. So it was a complete waste of time.
Yeah. Talked last week about giving a rest, and we've got a few pelters on here in the comments, but we read them all. Thank you very much for letting us know how much you didn't agree with the comments on here last week. Don't forget, what we do is we present what social media are saying. Right then, Jim, what's needed against Watford in terms of personnel? Who are we starting? Who are we dropping from the starting 11 at the weekend?
You need to drop Hamza. You need to start Ricardo. What's his name? Divine Bukasa? Yeah, he needs to play. Winks needs to play. I'm sorry, Winks needs to start. Put Winks in. I know you can't drop Skip, but you need a goal-scoring midfielder. So you need to play someone like a Winks and a James, for example, together, because James can get the goals. I don't think you need to drop Skip, because he's normally been quite solid, but he doesn't really get you the goals. Winks doesn't either, but Winks controls the midfield better than James does, but James gets you the goal, so it's a hard one. But I think, like I say, with Fatawu, he just tries to do the almighty every time. Instead of just doing the basics right, he just thinks that he's Messi on steroids, and he can cut in and all the time and score 35-yard goals. Yeah, it works now and again, but out of 20 shots, he probably gets one in. And he just needs to understand that it's not all about, you're not on a showcase reel. You're not going to get a medal for doing tricks. You're there to score, to set up, and just score a tap in if need be. Don't try and curl one in from 40, 30 yards all the time. So then again, if you drop Fatawu, you keep Mavididi, you drop him and bring Richards on the wing, there's just no one really that stands out for me that you can say he needs to start, apart from probably Winks in midfield to control it. And probably, you need to keep James there, because he's one of the team players going to get you the goals. Because up front, we've got nothing that can help us. So your main goal scoring threat is probably Jordan James. So yeah, I don't know anymore. I'm at that state. I don't know.
Keep the faith, Jim. Keep the faith, Jim.
It's hard.
There's worse teams than Leicester, I'm sure. Paul? Do you agree, sorry, Paul?
Yeah, I'd change the centre halves. I'd definitely have Lascelles in. I don't know how close Vestergaard is to fitness, but there's some people talking that he's close, and I'd have him in. I agree with Winks. We've got to have Winks in because he does control the game. I'd be tempted with Winks and Skip and change formation and drop the wingers and Winks, Skip, James, get 4-4-2, something like that. I don't know, just something different, but we need to start at the back more solid, and why we're not putting Lascelles in, I don't know. It's ridiculous. And I'd start Ricardo as well. I wouldn't let Hamza near the team. And fair play to Luke Thomas. The last 2 or 3 games he's picked up since Rowett's come in to be the manager. So he keeps his place, but It's going forward. That's the problem. I think part of it is we're scared to make that pass, because you need to. I remember James Maddison once said that you've got to be brave to make this sort of that really difficult pass, because 9 times out of 10 it won't work. And the problem is with Leicester, 9 times out of 10 gets you boos from the fans, doesn't it? So they're scared to do it. And the safe pass is to just go backwards or back across. So, and that's probably why we're better away from home than we are at home, because they can do that more.
Yeah. Good analysis. Thank you very much from both of you. To finish off this week, we're talking, of course, about the A to Z of Leicester, as we have done most weeks. We're up to letter T this week. Now, has anyone got any player, past or present, well, maybe past rather than present, with the surname T that we can put in our A to Z? Any of you can think of one off the top of your head?
I'll go to Taggart.
Got to be, yeah.
Someone who
100%.
someone at the back you could rely on. You literally get down to the nitty gritty stuff, and you just knew that when he was at bat with like Walshy or Elliott or you just knew you're going to have a good back line with him. And he played for the badge.
Good show.
I was young when he played, so I don't really remember much of him, but I've seen highlights of him and talked about it with my dad and stuff. And he used to love Taggart. My dad did.
Cool. Right, next week we're doing a double header, U and V. The V, of course, is going to be very, very easy and straightforward. There's only one player that gets in for that, but U might be a little bit more tricky, so join us for our discussion next week. And if you can think of any player with a surname begin with U that's played for Leicester, who's been half decent, that should get in the A to Z, let's scribble it down in the comments below, and we'll give you a shout out on next week's episode. Right, you two, enjoy the trip to Watford. Fingers crossed we can come back to the Midlands with 3 points, and we can breathe again. We can't have Leicester in League One. Say it isn't so. Catch you next week.